Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
Today we have Carla online with us, and we're going to look forward to talking to her about her travels into real estate, into commercial real estate, coming out of the restaurant world, the Michelin star world, etc. So Carla, it's great to have you today. And I'd just love to hear kind of your history of how you got into real estate and what you're up to now.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, you actually went to school in South America. That intrigues me.
I did. I went to college in Buenos Aires for a while, which was great. It was a really special experience, especially just the timing happened to coincide with the 2008 crash. So graduated 2009, things were just a little weird, and headed on down there. All my family's down there. So it was nice to get that just different view of just different experience for college. So taught me a lot. But I'm glad to be back too and be in the commercial real estate world.
So did you work through school in Buenos Aires?
I did not. While I was down there, I went to a really nice private school, Universidad de San Andrés, which is just a little bit to the north in Buenos Aires. And I did not. I actually did not finish college there. I came back here. Oops, there we go. And yeah, so it was nice. My uncle got sick when I was down there, and I was staying with some family for a while and ended up moving with some roommates. So just yeah, came back here. And that's really where I got into real estate. So my family had always been investing. We did like tons of fix and flips growing up, mostly in Marin, Southern Marin. So Mill Valley, Strawberry, Tiburon, all the above. So
you end up moving around a lot, or these were just houses that you bought and flipped and so forth?
Sometimes we did. We moved probably like 3 or 4 times, just kind of upgrading every time. But yeah, Cascade, downtown Mill Valley, another time Strawberry. Yeah, we lived in Sausalito for a while. So it was great. If anything, it's helped me with real estate. Now I just know Marin so well, and from a personal perspective too, not just, market knowledge from learning.
Then you basically started with Marcus.
I did.
Marcus
so
and Millichap.
Correct. Yeah. So I actually worked at Wayfair Tavern, which is this great restaurant, financial district, in San Francisco downtown. And I got to meet a lot of cool people, and the building itself was so spectacular, really cool building. And the owner of the building was also part owner in the restaurant. And I didn't really know this at the time. But, I'd meet him, and we would always take care of him when he came down. And there was another part owner who owned Buckeye and a few of the real restaurants here in Mill Valley who I'd also worked for. So one day I just randomly applied to some jobs and knew I wanted to do real estate and was open to doing commercial and just wanted to learn a little bit more, and went in for an interview, and I ran into Rich Merriman, who was he does a lot of triple net deals. That's his forte. So, and I walked in, and he was one of the first people I saw, and he's like, "Welcome, Carla, you're in the right place." And just kind of made sense, and I found my niche there, and it was a really cool experience, especially being, I think there were like, I don't remember, maybe 70 people in my office, and there were like 3 or 4 girls. So if anything, you can see that as a threat, or I really saw it as a spectacular opportunity to come in and shake things up a little bit and have a little something that's different from other people working there. So from there, I just started in Marin County and then just took off. And now I mostly focus. I'm on a different team now. I'm with Compass Commercial, and we mostly do San Francisco, all asset types. So it's been a really cool ride.
So you're doing kind of all asset parts. Are you doing property management too?
No, I have my portfolio, so I do manage our buildings with my mom. But no, I don't do property management. I don't really typically do leasing either. I'm happy to do it when it's worth it, but for the most part, it's just a lot of work for it's the same amount of work for less money. And I hate to put it that way because it sounds so petty, but I just transaction. If you can do transactions and you're good at transactions, I recommend doing that. Leasing's obviously great if you can get some of the bigger companies and but yeah, so I do sales, which I love.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I think a lot of people getting into commercial real estate don't realize that they can spend their life doing a bunch of teeny little leases and not make a huge amount of money. And if they want to spend that much time, they should go into sales and transactions that make a much bigger return.
And to
So,
each their own, right? I mean, if you work for CBRE or Newmark or I mean one of these companies that gets these, if you're on the landlord rep side and you've got a huge portfolio of their properties and you're leasing them out, great. That's probably worth it to you. If they're making salary, great. That's probably worth it to you. But we're in the kill what eat what you kill business here. So, we're not getting salary. We're getting commission based. So it's really got to really make sure that all of your activities are make sense and that they're money making activities and that it's all going in the right direction, right? So
so how are you basically soliciting new listings? Are you more on the listing side or the buyer side?
so
More on
my
the listing side.
no, well, so we do both, right? Right now I've got two buyer rep agreements and it's so funny because everyone was saying, not to derail, but everyone was saying that the lawsuit, the NAR lawsuit wasn't
Right, right,
affect commercial, but if anything, I've seen it as an opportunity to get a lot of our buyers who before would never have signed a buyer rep agreement. So I've got
right, right.
buyer rep agreements within the last week. And so I'll do that. But yeah, I'm not really running around with buyers. It's just not really a good use of my time. My team has 4 people on it. We probably have, gosh, what is it? I think we have like 13 listings right now. So we've got a lot. I think between the 4 of us, we all really pull our own weight. One of my partners has a son on the team, which is cool. So he's teaching him the ways. And I'm just really honored to be on their team and we all work really well together. So as far as marketing and how we're getting more listings, it's a lot of calls. It's being in the office every day. I know people think you don't need to be in the office. I say that's BS. You got to be there. It's crazy. And if anything, again, I see it as I guess I'm just an optimistic person, but I see it as an opportunity. If other people aren't going to be in the office and they're going to be too afraid to answer their phone, hey, I'm here and I'm answering my phone. And that's a great opportunity for me. Just because the back and forth, as with emails or text messages, you're just waiting for a response when that might be a deal that you're missing right there. That might be an offer deadline. So you just never know. It's not worth it to me.
Yeah, no, and particularly if you're working on a team, I assume your whole team is coming in most days.
Every day, except for weekends. But I
Yeah.
do so.
Well, that's one advantage to obviously working commercial is it's mostly, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 kind of, but, occasionally it'll run over, but that's okay. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we'll definitely, if it's a triplex or a 4 unit property, that's worth it. Absolutely. Within the last year, um, most of my deals were actually 2 to 4 units and then a lot of owner user deals. So a lot of SBA loans, dentists, electricians, plumbers, all the above. So you just kind of go where the market is and you just keep establishing those relationships. And when the market's right for someone, then you pivot and you work that market and it all works out. But again, having a team is so worth it and kind of enables you to live your life like a normal person too. Whereas, before this, when I was more solo or on a smaller team, you go on vacation. We all know how that works, right? You go on vacation and of course, the second you're on the plane or in the airport, the person you've been trying to get to list for the last 2 years, like, I'm ready now, oh, on my honeymoon, great, I'm ready to sell now. So it's nice to have a team that backs you up and gets that down. So
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So working in a big company, this is kind of a little bit of a advertisement for, hey, if you're going into commercial, working on a team in a bigger company may be a real benefit for you if you want more of a 9 to 5 sort of job.
I think so. But then again, that's what's so beautiful about our industry, right? It's really like, what's your flavor, right? Are you someone who manages their own portfolio or has a different job or what, when I started in commercial, I was working at Marcus. I would get there at 7:30 a.m. I would cold call all day. I would go on meetings, present BOVs, work on my own packages. I had no time. And then I would go and I would work at Wayfair Tavern and cocktail serve from like, what was it, 5? They would let me get there a little bit late. So I would go at 5 and then I wouldn't get out of there till like midnight. And then I would show up and do it again the next day. So I it's like, who are you as a
Wow.
person? Are you a grinder? If you're not a grinder, then yeah, maybe I would go for a salary gig or something. And I think this is a really appropriate conversation to have right now because I've had so many young people and older people and people of all ages reaching out. Like, look, I've been curious about commercial or residential real estate agents, like crazy. Like, hey, I've been looking to make a change, and what do you think about this? And what do you think I should do? And there's so many different aspects of commercial, whether it's development side, lending, property management. And if you are a hustler, go try brokerage out. But if you think it's going to be easy, don't do it. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. Don't even dive in. Don't even think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you're not able, well, I don't know. Jay Greenberg, do you know that name at all?
Yes.
So Jay is one of the people I interviewed a month or so back, and his analogy was, look, this is a scrum. You're basically in a scrum for the ball, and if the ball comes out and you're not diving for the ball, you should
You do
not
it.
be in commercial real estate.
Yes.
It's not that he also made a very good point that he's in a service industry, that you have to give the client what the client wants. And
And
as
they
you
want
said
it.
earlier, if a client wants to do a flip or refinance, that's where you got to go. It may not make you any money right now, but maybe down the road it would make you some more money.
Right.
So
Right. Exactly. It's all it's all an investment for the long term. And I mean, here's the other thing is we all become principals, right? So that's the goal. You don't want to be an agent forever. And realistically, I mean, eventually you'll probably just end up giving referrals but you got to think about your retirement, and the retirement's really in buying property and maybe rolling your fee in to a deal with someone that you've met through doing business. And um yeah, you got to know how to do different asset types. And I just think that that's what I love so much about having gone to commercial at the beginning is that now residential is so easy to me. And every deal is different, right? It's not always easy, but just as far as transactions go, it's like that's a 30-day close. And oh my goodness, lending's so easy. And there's no phase one, two. Like, absolutely, I would love to help you. It's my pleasure. So um, that's something that comes up too, right? It's just,
yeah, yeah. Well, uh, I don't know about Compass, but in general, I found that the paperwork for commercial real estate is so much less than residential paperwork right now. So, and that makes a sort of an easier transaction. Of course, you typically have more lawyers involved in commercial real estate, and that can be fun or not so fun, depending on the attorneys. So,
right. And
anyway,
I think that's why San Francisco is such a cool place because even if you do just want to be a commercial, and it's funny because a lot of our competition will go in and present a BOV. Um, and we actually just won a listing, right? And we found out, we asked them, at the end, we were just kind of shooting shit with them. And they said, well, it's funny because I'm not going to say who, but one of our competitors was like, well, they mostly focus on 2 to 4 units, which is just absolutely not true. If you look at our listings right now, we have like industrial, it's like all of it, multifamily, all the above.
yeah, yeah,
It was funny because, of course we'll do a 2 to 4 unit. San Francisco, like most of the real estate there is income producing. So
right.
if I can advise someone on any sort of, tenant situation or just selling a building that's tenant occupied or whatever it is, I'm happy to do it. And you have some duplexes in San Francisco that are like $10 million. There's no reason not.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. So it's not, yeah. Yeah. It sounds like, oh, yeah, we're only doing little stuff, but not so much. I mean,
I'll do
and
a
if that's
little
where the
stuff.
market is,
Yeah.
that's where you got to go. Well, I was
Right.
intrigued. You said you were doing some SBA loans. So, um, particularly post COVID, I suspect that was a big part of what's happening in San Francisco. People are looking for user transactions. They want to buy their own place. Prices are coming down, so it made it much easier to get an SBA loan.
Right. And the SBA loan's such a beautiful product. So I'm not a lender, but I do love my SBA lenders. Shout out to TMC, shout out to Daria Walker, all my lenders. But um what's great is you're basically getting, it's like a conventional residential loan. If you look at the down payment, it's anywhere from 5 to 10% down on a commercial deal that you're owner occupying. So if you're paying, many times people will be paying $13,000 in rent, and then they go in to buy, like, depending on the size of the building and whether or not it has income, but they'll only be coming out like seven. If they purchase the building and they put 10% down, they'll only be paying like somewhere between 7 and that 13,000, that they 7,000 to 13,000 in mortgage payments for their SBA loan. So they're actually owning something, and they get to, so basically what I'm trying to say is the last 2 years with all the vacancy and everything in San Francisco, people were kind of freaking out about all the loss and like the loss of businesses, like all the vacancies, everything. But it was really a beautiful time because you had all of these new businesses coming in, whether they're buying the old businesses and the building and whatever it is, but coming in and taking over and establishing new businesses and buildings that we never thought we were ever going to see change hands or
Mm,
vacate or whatever. And in reality, they didn't really have to. And it wasn't a financial move. It was more of a we're over California move. So it was, you got both sides. Not only was California hurting as far as like people being priced out, but also now we have all of that bad news that was happening, which I really feel like has subsided. If you go downtown right now, I mean, San Francisco's definitely coming back. As we all knew was going to happen. And we see these waves all the time. I mean,
yeah, that's fantastic news. I mean, there's been so much bad press that it's time now to get some good press that things are popping back and things are starting to happen. I mean, traffic is certainly the first indicator. So I don't know, you're driving in from Marin, I assume, and I'm sure that's getting worse and worse by the day.
right. I mean, I go in really early. So typically I'm on the road before anyone else. Mill Valley has a bunch of schools. So I try to get out of here as early as possible. But yeah. And then you have places like China Basin. I don't know if you've been to a Giants game lately, but I mean, all those developments to the right there, those have all
Oh
just
yeah.
up. And there's a lot of change happening. So I love change. Again, just kind of piggybacking on what I said earlier is it's an opportunity. And just like with stocks, you don't want to be buying when everyone's already talking about it. You want to buy when there's some bad news. So that's, I think, what everyone was doing and I was thinking for a while, like maybe people are just hyping up all the bad news so they can get cheaper properties and, take advantage of that, which I don't necessarily know if that was true or not, but I did appreciate that perspective because there were some really good deals that went down over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah. So I'm curious, back when you were with Marcus, you basically spent 80 hours a day cold calling. So how much time are you spending, if any, right now on cold calling?
Oh, I'm still cold calling. Absolutely cold calling all the time, every day. Um, the calls are different now, right? With a little bit of experience, things have changed, and there's just so much more technology. And, every year the whole game changes, but it really just comes down to those basics, which are just get on the phone and call. Um, but no, definitely still calling, still doing, I
That's
mean,
good. No, I think that's part of commercial real estate and even residential real estate that people don't realize that you gotta keep after it, and it's all a numbers game. So, and eventually you're going to find somebody that wants to do something.
it's the discipline factor, right? And it's more the eat the frog. Like if there's something you really don't want to do, I guarantee you that's the only thing you should really be doing today.
If you
It's
don't want to be cold calling, that's the thing you should be doing.
right. It's just that
Yeah.
resistance is there for a reason, whether it's because you're doubting yourself or you're overanalyzing it. But at the end of the day, there's no shame in making money as long as you're helping people. So
Absolutely. So let's find out where people can find you. Where can Carla be found?
So you can find me llcre.com. That's ll-cre.com. You can also find me Facebook, Instagram. We're at LLCRE, and yeah, out and about. I'm out there walking the street, boots on the ground. So would love to work with everybody, especially new business owners. I think that's a great niche that we've kind of just really exploded in. So would love to help you find a new location or apartment building or industrial space. And I think there's so many great opportunities for everyone, for us to all work together. So look forward to that.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for being on, and I'm sure we'll talk again very soon.
Thanks for having me, Bruce. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.